Paper was like gold in medieval times.
Oh, not tobacco. Sugar.
That everything we thought we knew about the world might turn out to be completely wrong.
Get back. Quickly. Get back alive. Get back in one piece. Run and say to your wife, "I'm back. Don't worry, I'm here." The expedition went well. They've paid me quite well. But Nima does worry. She doesn't want him to set off again. With the money he's earned, Gurmen has installed a TV in the lodge. And they're starting to make a profit. With their family's help, they've even been able to send their children to school in Kathmandu. But this prosperity comes at a price. The Sherpas are employed as porters at high altitudes by Himalayan climbers. These Sherpa guides do not always come back down. Gurmen's brother did not come back. And Nima is haunted by nightmares and horror stories. The sick and injured are piggybacked down Everest Valley. The helicopters don't fly in fog and are too costly for the Sherpas. As for the yaks, they won't tolerate people on their backs.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Gurmen has a bold idea to help his family's finances. But before launching into the project, he consults the village's senior lama. His madcap idea came to him when he was looking at the horses on prayer flags. He wants to buy a horse which has been broken in and hire it out to tourists to earn his living. He first asks the Lama to bless a roll of prayer flags with images of the wind horses, the Lung Ta.
파로인데 빠져 트라치바나 또나 판나 부주 그누나 바체도 라다미나 라마이너스 저이들 좀 내대지 숨발랑은 바람
Halfway through the ceremony, he confides his secret.
지나리나 어 네, 달로바 와야
The Lama kindly gives him encouragement. He prays for his protection and for the arrival of a horse in the village, a living wind horse, a real-life lungta. No one has ever thought of riding a horse here before. The valley is far too steep. Outside, the scent of burning juniper fills the monastery. Gurmen, eager to set off in search of his horse, waits with the other believers. Lamas in hats leave for faraway ceremonies. Sherpa women part to sow seeds. And Sherpa guides get ready to tackle the heights. None of them would do this without having received a kata of beige silk, thrown blessed rice, or inhaled the intoxicating sacred smells. Bolstered by these rituals, they go their separate ways, following their own destinies. The wind horses and their prayers are carried off in all directions. Prayers for the dead brother and thoughts of hope. The sound of the wind horses fluttering in the wind signals the arrival of a real horse for Nima and Gurmen. A horse which Gurmen will go to find in another valley. A horse he hopes to hire out to foreigners passing through. A horse which will carry the sick and save lives. Now they have made the decision. Gurmen can go to the Valley of the Horses. The animals which scamper around the monastery are not for sale. They are sacred incarnations, horses without a master, left to roam freely. Gurmen goes bounding along for 10 hours on the trot. And 2,000 meters below, he flies along. One thought preoccupies him: how to find the money. Gurmen has brought with him all his savings and some valuable objects to sell. Apparently, a domestic horse can cost 50 times the price of his plane ticket. He'll have to borrow money in Kathmandu. Gurmen is counting on the support of a cousin, Tsawang, who has gone into selling mountaineering equipment. He finds the capital of Nepal balancing on a knife edge. On the one hand, the revolution of Pachanda's Maoist party, which promises democracy to the people and social justice to the poor. On the other, the unseeing monarchy, which continues to parade along in front of an astonishing cavalry. As if to goad, the royal family travels along in a carriage with pomp and contempt. the Tamil district, items are bought and sold, made and copied, especially equipment offered to the Sherpas by the expeditions. Gurmen's cousin is there. He's welcoming, but careful to check the authenticity of Gurmen's items. Tawang offers. Gurmen spent his childhood in a Buddhist monastery. That was what his father wanted. Today, the young Sherpa has mixed feelings. He would like to say thank you and enjoy the here and now. But he remembers the demanding days of his childhood, the monotonous chanting, and having to sit still for hours. He especially remembers the runaways, the ruckuses, bunking off, games, and dreaming of freedom. He remembers moments of sharing, and then finally leaving with Nima to follow his chosen path. He often remembers the restrictions of monastic school life. And he remembers the pleasure of discovering the world through books. He also remembers the interminable ceremonies, which made his head spin with exhaustion. From this strange time at the monastery, a nostalgia for the miracles of light has stayed with him, and an inclination to pray. He has also retained a taste for these extraordinary rides on horseback. These imaginary gallops on raging creatures which drove away evil spirits and scattered demons to the wind. The Valley of the Horses is not so far away. It threads its way towards the more accessible mountains, packed with tourists in the summer months. A week's walk from Kathmandu, the Mustang and Tibetan horses went over the Annapurna Pass. They are bred here and crossed with Indian horses, and they are hired out to trekkers at a good price. A horse owner earns as much in a few hours as a porter usually earns in a month. And it doesn't look that hard. Gurmen throws himself into his search. He is untroubled by the 40 kilometers of mountains and passes on his journey, but he is constantly stricken by fear. He worries whether he'll be able to convince any trader to sell a horse to a novice who knows nothing about them. He'll just have to ask. And keep on asking. All along the way, tourism is changing the face of the valleys. Stonemasons are hard at work. Everything is in motion. Religion is also caught up in the whirlwind. The Nepalese and their prayers are carried along by a new rhythm. Here's one he likes the look of. This time, the horses are for sale. The horse trader shows Gurmen his 3 horses. Is he getting a bargain or being sold a pup? The first contact is tough for a beginner. Finally, the grey mare lets Gurmen approach. She seems to be sweet-natured and in good health. Maybe she'll make a good horseman out of him. The horse trader is amused by how unsure and apprehensive Gurmen is, and by his lack of skill. He helps his client to mount the horse. Gurmen may have climbed Everest 3 times, but mounting a horse is a different matter altogether. The negotiation is done Tibetan fashion, for a win-win outcome. Gurmen names his price. Gurmen cannot possibly return to the village and present his horse without a full complement of tack. She must at least have a collar with bells and a tassel and a Tibetan saddle blanket. He would like to call his beautiful mare Karma. Karma means destiny, but he knows it's not up to him to decide. He'll call her Karma for the time being. Tomorrow, Buddha and the lamas may decide otherwise. Near Lukla Airport, Gurmen feels sure he will find some foreigners. He offers his services to the lodge nearest the landing strip. There's sure to be a well-heeled rider who would like to ride Karma. The reason? Kathmandu has been blockaded. The people are demanding for the king to be deposed. Planes are carrying only bags and fresh hopes. A new life lies ahead for Gurmen. He'll cross rivers without getting his feet wet and climb at Karma's pace. He'll have to accept looks of astonishment and have faith close to the edge. Take incomprehension, refusals, and disinterest in his stride. He'll be part of the march of history. No, no one needs a horse here either. At this rate, the cousin in Kathmandu won't be getting his money back for some time. Gurmen can't get network coverage, and he promised to contact his cousin Sawang in Kathmandu. It's just in the last week that it has been possible for Sawang to receive emails in his shop. The internet is the new windhorse, and the cyber cafe its monastery. As they climb higher, Karma becomes less and less sprightly. The smallest obstacle makes her stall. The more Gurmen pulls on her leash, the more she refuses. She's paralyzed and shaken by a caravan of yaks passing her and freezes. The coolness of the gorge encourages her to set off again with renewed vigor. But once again, she is not so sure-footed, and she hesitates and falters. Now Gurmen is no longer thinking about hiring out his mare, but whether they will ever get back to the village. Will she crack before they do? They are at a height of 3,500 meters, and maybe Karma can't tolerate the altitude. When they finally arrive on the high plateaus, Gurmen drags Karma to the gates of a veterinary hospital, the only one in the Khumbu Valley. She has small wounds which are infected, probably knocks from other animals' horns. The vet is not happy.
बिहान त हिँडाउने बेलामा अलिकति पानी खुवाउनुस् हैन दाना त्यतिखेर दिनुस् दाना कम्तीमा टेकेमा अब हुँदाखेरि के हुन्छ भने यो चर्ने जात भएको हुनाले हैन अलिकति बढी दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ 2-3 केजी मकै हैन 1-2 केजी चना हैन त्यस्तो दिनुस् घाँस 2-4 केजी दिनुस् हैन त्यतिखेर त अब 3-4 किलो घाँस र 1-2 किलो दानाले भ्याउँछ अब बर्खामा त त्यति पनि अब खासै गाह्रो हुन्न हैन किनभने अब हरियो घाँस हुन्छ हरियो घाँस चर्न पाउँछ हैन अनि खासै त्यतिखेर गाह्रो हुन्न त्यतिखेर पनि अलिअलि अब दाना त दिनै पर्छ हैन त्यस्तो हो खास यो घोडा यो 4 खुट्टा भएको मात्र हो मान्छे र घोडामा केही फरक छैन जति हाम्रो भित्रको आन्द्रा बुढी छ त्यति नै मान्छे जतिकै हो यसको नि केही फरक छैन हैन त्यसले गर्दा अलिकति केयर गर्नु होला.
The village is still 2 days away. 2 days on the edge of the void. No one has ever tried this before. The raven wouldn't dare do this with the yak, but tries its luck with the horse. Karma is better again. Now, when she has to be pulled, it's because she's resisting. But Gurmen has his doubts. They will arrive back at Pangbosh without any money, and what's more, without having done anything or helped anyone. Up until now. Gurmen had heard of this disabled Sherpa. He was one of the best guides on Everest, Lakpa, an exceptional Sherpa. You could ask the impossible of Lakpa. For example, he was asked to carry a radio transmitter to the top of Everest so that the conquerors could proclaim their victory the next day.
Everest 갈때만 알아서 뛰었으면 거기 표가대로 비사대로 세르라이 잡을 잘나서 비니잖아. 알아서 뛰었으면 가절 롱잡는 좀 마세 말로. 자좀 되잖아. 아우퍼때 비게 단지가네 말. rumbi besiem lauza. Tama tewagen de lemne mashi. Oldu gayla. Te acime. Yoyele. Kuda.
Lakpa is going to see his son in Dingbosch. It's a long way, along a very steep route. He takes advantage of a ride on Karma, who this time walks on without showing any resistance. Finally, it's home sweet home. Even at 4,000 meters, there's nowhere quite like home. A nice stall. Home sweet home. A place where secrets are shared, tales are told, and new plans are made. Nima and Gurmen's plan is to prepare a special meal which they will offer to the nuns at the convent for Karma's presentation ceremony. The meal of barley fritters will be shared. The lodge's guests get to taste them that evening. And the next day, Gurmen and Nima will take the rest of them to the nuns at the convent. Only Nima and her parents accompany Gurmen to Karma's consecration ceremony. Gurmen has said little about it in the village. He is afraid of the evil eye on karma. He needs the reassurance of this ceremony because they don't know karma's place in the cycle of reincarnation. The presents and food are discreetly placed at the entrance to the convent. Nima serves tea made of yak's milk to the officiants. Their litanies link the animal to its name and so establish a favorable destiny for karma and her owners. The gifts of silver are there as backup. Simple thanks in advance. This animal is strange. It has an odd get-up. We don't really know what it's for, but the teacher would explain it to us. Then Gurmen asks a favor of these talented observers. He asks them to draw him a picture of a horse for hire to hang on his house.
होइन तीनटा मात्रै हर्सन हायर लोकेसन डे सेभल JANGBU लेख्नुपर्छ जाङ्बु चित्र चाहिँ जम्मा गर्न आँटे कुन यसमध्येबाट सबभन्दा राम्रो छ त्यो छान्नु पर्यो हामीले हजुर ठिकै छ यो चाहिँ जानु है सर हजुर हुन्छ ए हुन्छ ल धन्यवाद सर ए हुन्छ हस् हजुर
Dansi received a worrying phone call. Sherpa Dawa is asking for help. His eyes have been burned by the sun, and because of the fog, the helicopter has refused to go. He wants to come down. Gurmen says he will go. He goes with Karma and 2 bales of hay. Everest Base Camp is at 5,400 meters. It will take at least 2 days, probably 3 to get there. Karma slowly acclimatizes to the reduction in oxygen. In fact, Karma does not suffer from the altitude as long as there's food and sun. But above 4,700 meters, the stock of hay runs out, the vegetation becomes sparse, and the sky clouds over. They merge into a world of snow and clouds. The refuge at Low Bush is not visible. It has dissolved into the fog. But for Dawa's sake, who is blinded and waiting for them at base camp, they cannot give up. They must go on. Low Bush, 5,000 meters.
치매 아주 등알아 슈기름에 포 파포 페르긴닝이 당긴 등알아 슈기름에
데메 주이라.
데메 누알라 캉사메
예, 라스.
At 5,000 meters, the bad weather can last for a day, or 2 days, or a week. 10 centimeters, or a meter of snow may fall, but they stay cheerful in adversity. Karma and Gurmen take the bad weather in their stride.
Io bisco.
The following morning, the sky clears. Good fortune seems to have returned. A magical light gives shape to the icy mass. Gurmen is full of hope, though he is still penniless. Karma is not fazed by the crevasses, but the ground beneath her is unstable. At the top of a sweep of ice, the summit of Everest is a mirage, a black triangle, dominating the frozen penitents and jumble of seracs where processions of climbers try to find their way. Dawa must have come down this way too. Arriving at base camp is a strange experience. At 5,400 meters, many people lose their lucidity and their speech becomes incoherent. Dazed, they keep quiet and look in silence at the person they have been waiting for, and then walk away to perform Herculean tasks on the moving ground, which is shrinking and each day sliding a little further towards the sea. At high altitude, the sun's rays are reflected off the snow. This excess of light can burn your retina in just a few hours. If you lose your glasses, as Dawa did, you must take great care, because snow blindness is painful and such an attack can be irreversible. The Sherpas helped Dawa down the ice face, but the Western team who employed him won't come down any further. They have gone off up the mountain, preoccupied with trying to reach the top. Despite her lack of food, Karma fulfills her role superbly. She doesn't shy or slip or jolt along. It's as if she is aware of her responsibility. After 18 difficult hours, Dawa is safely back down. Having rescued Dawa, Gurmen will, in due course, receive a substantial sum of money from the expedition's insurance. Treated in good time, Dawa shouldn't suffer any serious consequences.
Mix up with the no. Tamu made a minina. Mix up with the no. How is that? The separate dinner. How's me? I think is a digital.
For Gurmen and his family, things have taken a turn for the better in these few months. Karma's success has set an example. Both the mayor and Gurmen's advice are much in demand. It's not what he expected. His good idea of a horse for hire quickly spawned others. More and more people are becoming horse riders and hiring out horses, improving life for some families and generating the first signs of prosperity. The horse traders come to check out the valley, smiling broadly. And more tourists are enjoying hiring horses. At last, Gurmen can reimburse Tsawang, his cousin in Kathmandu. At last, he can celebrate the advent of the first Nepalese republic, which has just been announced. At last, he can meet his children from school and give them a nice surprise. last, they can celebrate Buddha's birthday together. Today, it is the year 2631.
Belhun, hun, pet, pet.